Hey, how's it going? My name is Helmi, and on my channel, I discuss strategies about digital marketing, specifically content marketing. All right, so do you run a blog or a YouTube channel? So even though your content is really good, you're finding that not enough people are clicking on your content and reading your stuff. So if that's the case, chances are that either your title or your featured image sucks. So I'm going to use a live example of one of my content that I think is really good. It's just not getting the clicks that it deserves. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you what I'm going to do to upgrade my featured image to look from this to this. All right, let's get started. So now I'm in front of my computer. Let's see what we have to work with here. So this is my current featured image that I want to change. So the featured image is the same for both my blog and my YouTube video. Okay, first we got to understand what this content is about. I'm actually explaining that investing in property is no longer profitable for people around our age. I think the days where you can make a lot of money investing in properties, they are long gone. All right, so that's the gist of this content. So the featured image and also the title must reflect the emotion that I'm trying to convey. So let's take a look at what I have currently. So this is my old featured image. I mean, it's actually not that bad. This is very cartoony. Currently, it's very modern and simple. That was my skill set at this point in time. This was the best I come up with at that time. So now that I have upgraded my skills with experience over time, we're gonna update this featured image. So first, let's look at what I like about this. I like that the big hand is kind of like signaling people, stop doing something. So in the new featured image, I want to have something similar to that with my hands up front. And my facial expression does show that I'm concerned about something. With the overall intonation with my content kind of blends in. What I don't like, however, is that the background doesn't jive with my current brand anymore. The font also doesn't jive. And there's too many texts. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 texts here. I think it's just too much for a featured image, because if you're looking at this on the desktop, it's fine, you can read everything, but most people nowadays, they're scrolling on their phone, and with like 8 titles in a small featured image, you really can't see anything. So I would reckon that if I change this featured image to the new one, I should be getting more clicks for this video. So here's the game plan. I'm gonna take a new picture of me doing one of those hand stop thingy, and I'm gonna position myself to the left or to the right of the image, where the text will be on the opposite side of where I am. Now, I'm not sure what text I'm going to be putting, but it's not going to be 8 words. It's probably going to be 2, maximum 3 words, and it's going to be really big to really capture people's attention. All right, so first order of business, I'm going to take a picture of myself. So I have a blank wall right over there. So I'm going to show you how I take pictures of myself for my featured image. All right, here we go. All right, here's how I take mine. I usually take it against a wall. It's not really white, it's kind of grayish. And you don't need all this equipment that you see here. It's nice to have one of these lights, but if you don't, you can just stand next to a window during daytime. It works the same. However, you do need a tripod to place your camera or smartphone while you do the self-timer. Looking at me posing here, I look absolutely ridiculous. But trust me, the more emotion you can convey in your featured image or thumbnails, the better clicks you're gonna get. All right, so just close the door and have at it. Alright, so now I uploaded those images into my computer, and let's go check them out. This one's good. It's focusing on my face, and I have enough room here to put the text. It's pretty good. Let's check out the others. This could be a good one as well, but unfortunately the camera focused on my hand here instead of my face. So this is the reason why you have to take as many pictures as possible, because more often than not, your camera will autofocus on something else that you don't want it to. So here's a classic case. It focused on my hand instead of my face. It's not wrong, but it's not the look that I'm looking for. So I think out of the bunch, this is probably the one that I like the most. I think my face shows some sort of emotion, kind of annoying looking face, but not too annoying. So I think it captures attention. All right, so we're gonna open this up in Photoshop. So this is a raw image. You don't need to shoot in RAW, JPEG is fine. If you import a raw image into Photoshop, you can click on this auto button, and it will automatically adjust the color balance and all that kind of stuff. I don't really like to grade or edit my photos that much, so I just put them on auto. Click on open. All right. So we're not gonna edit here because this is the original image. So we're gonna create one image for the blog post and another image for the YouTube thumbnail. So these two things are different sizes. So let's start with the blog one first. It's actually 1200 by 800 pixels. So this is the blog. Okay, so I'm gonna unlock this layer. I'm gonna copy this over here. And as you can see, the original image is way bigger. I'm gonna resize it so it fits. There you go. We can play this around. That looks okay for now. Okay, so next we want to add the text. On the left side, there's a T icon. Click on this thing and click anywhere on the picture, and you can play around with the fonts and size. Okay, so now I have the text. I'm going to change the title to only show maybe 2, maximum 3 words, and I'm going to make it really big. So what can we do to really capture people's attention? So property needs to be there because that's the keyword. What else? One more word. So instead of saying don't buy property, maybe I can try something a little bit more oomph. Maybe I can say property scam. People love scams. They capture their attention. So let's try that out right now. Scam, there you go. So I'm going to change the font size to whatever, just play around, and then can change the height as well. Be a little bit more close to one another. Okay, maybe this is a little bit too big. Let's drop this down to maybe 150. So here you see that the word property here is covering my head, and I think it's too much, but I like how big the scam is. So the scam word can stay at that size, and my hand is conveniently pointing at it. And I'm gonna make the property word a little bit smaller. So if I wanna duplicate this layer, I hold down the Option button on my Mac, click and drag this up. There you go. And I'm gonna type property. This one I wanna make a little bit smaller. So maybe 150, let's see how that turns out. So next, I want to have that text to appear that it pops out a little bit more. So the easiest way you can do that is to introduce some drop shadow on the text. So you can do that by clicking down here, FX, scroll down to drop shadow. So over here, you can play around with the angles, how much spread. It will auto live preview here and just adjust however you want. All right, now I'm going to show you something cool. I want some of these texts to appear behind me. So it really gives this image like a pop, like a 3D effect. All right, so I think property is fine to be above my face. If R and T is behind me, I don't think you can understand what it says. However, I can have just this small tip of the M here to be behind me. So let's do that right now. You need to tell Photoshop our outline here is one layer, and then this scam text should be behind that layer. So in order to do that, we need to do something called masking. I'm not a pro in Photoshop, but I at least know how to do this. So I'm just going to show you how to do it. First, you have to click on the layer with the image. Then you go up here on the menu, click select, subject, and then click on myself. Bam. It usually does a pretty good job to figure out what I'm trying to show. So if you can see here, it kind of miss out my specs a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just going to click on this and add. See, that's an addition. Oopsie. There you go. Okay, all right. So now click on the scam text, hold down the Option button on my Mac and click on this Add Layer Mask. Boom. Look at that. The M appears behind me. How cool is that? All right, so this looks a million times better. So next I'm going to save this as a PNG, which is pretty high quality. But don't worry, we're going to compress that image before we upload it. First, let's export this as PNG. So File, Export, Export as PNG. All right, sure. All right, so here's the PNG of the image that we just created. Looks pretty good. Let's see how big it is. 1.1 megabyte. That's too big for your blog. We're going to aim for something below 200 kilobytes to upload to WordPress so it doesn't slow down your website. Okay, so here's how to compress your images before you upload them. So there's this one website that I really like to use, squish.app. So click here and select the image that you want to compress right there. And on the left side, the original is 1.1 megabyte. After compression, it's 52 kilobyte. That's a huge reduction, 95%. And I'm pretty happy with this, so I don't have to fiddle around with anything else. So we're going to click download. So let's go to my download folder. Here it is. This is the compressed image. Let's see how big it is. 52 kilobytes. Perfect. Any difference in quality? Not that I can tell. Pretty good. All right, so now we've created the blog featured image. The next thing is that I want to create the same image for my YouTube thumbnails. So it's going to be exactly the same image. It's just different dimensions. Here's what I usually do. So I'm going to click Apple N. That will create a new file. And for YouTube thumbnails, the dimension, you can Google this, is 1280 by 720 pixels. Okay, so I've already set this as my favorite. So I'm going to hit create. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy everything, copy this. Okay, I'm just going to adjust something a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to copy over the text, paste, property, copy, paste. So as you can see, it kind of copied over the cut version from previously. So what I'm going to do is click on that layer, right click, and delete layer mask. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to save this as YouTube property, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. File, export, quick export as PNG. Okay, so let's go check that out right there. Okay, how big is the file? It's 1.1 megabyte. It is pretty big, but for YouTube, you want it to be as high quality as possible, and they say that the maximum size is 2 megabytes. So in this case, it's 1.1. It's good enough. We can upload right now. All right, so let's do that. So here's my blog. I want to update the featured image of my blog. I'm going to click on edit post, and down here would be featured image, replace, and I'm going to upload that new image. So here, remember to upload the compressed version and not the uncompressed version. Set as featured image, bam. So if I update this, take a look, property, it's updated. Look at that. Now we're going to do the same thing for my YouTube video. So I'm going to go to studio.youtube.com, go on to content, find that content. There it is. I'm going to click on the pencil, edit. Down here, I'm going to click on this, options, change. And I'm going to upload the one that is specifically for YouTube thumbnails, the 1280 by 720. Upload, save. Awesome. All right, so let's take a look at this preview. This is a YouTube embed, and it's pulling up the latest version as well. Cool. All right, so there you go. That's my tutorial on how to create an eye-catching featured image or YouTube thumbnail. I hope that's been helpful. Subscribe for more content like this, and let me know what you think in the comment below. Bye.